Final hour of Newsfeed AM, our reporters standing by with a final update of the stories we have been following this morning. Let's take you through them now. Sipha, Kema is in Goma, where family members of the soldiers who have lost their lives in the DRC wait for their repatriation. We'll get a sense of their thoughts, of course, on the back of all of that. Zola, Sholwana is in Palabora in Limpopo, also with family members as the country awaits an address from government as well, eagerly anticipating any word in that regard. We also have Nzikino here, who is in Mqanduli, where community protests over service delivery have led to the closure of schools in the area as well. So we do have all those stories then for you. Let's start with this, though. Anxiety mounting among the families of South African Defence Force soldiers deployed in the conflict-ravaged eastern DRC. There's so far been no word from President Cyril Ramaphosa nor the Defence Minister Angie Motshekga, leaving many families desperate for answers. Zola Sholwana is in Palabora, where she's speaking to the family of one of the 13 men killed during combat against M23 rebels. That's 43-year-old Justice Malissa. Just a little bit earlier on, we had been hearing word from some of the family members there, Zola, just with regards to the stature of Justice Malissa, as well as who he was and how they would prepare for his homecoming upon return. But unfortunately, that is not to be.
Well, yes, indeed, Arabile. One thing we have picked up is that Justice was a man that was loved by the community and his family as well. But I think what actually stands out for me is the fact that the entire community has come out in numbers. It's not even the day of the funeral, and nobody knows when his body will actually return. But how people have decided to offer, comfort to the family and also help in terms of preparation is actually heartwarming, and that really shows the kind of person that he was in his community. But also we've heard from the family how they've described him as a family man that loved his wife and his children, very humble, and he would do by all means to ensure that when he's back, he makes those that are very close to his heart very happy. You heard the mother tell us that. But let's speak to a cousin of his who's gonna perhaps tell us about Justice's childhood. Abuti, thank you very much for your time. You maybe know Justice growing up. What kind of a child was he? Because we're hearing all these beautiful things about him. The fact that he was a kind man, he loved his community. How was he growing up?
Justice was just a career-driven person. He loves education. He loves to learn. He never even quit education. I remember when he went for deployment, he was busy with his market. What we call, there was this safety management courses in Begersford and in Pretoria. So he had to drop them because he has a situation of work that he's supposed to go to DRC. Since his childhood, it was just a kind person, loving one, caring one, especially most from his mom. So we grew up together with Justice without any conflicts. Either me or some other people outside, yes.
Mm-hmm. And you guys were expecting to see him in February. When was the last time you actually spoke to him?
The last time I spoke to him was last week, Thursday, around 7 a.m. So we were on the WhatsApp call. And then the last word that he said to me, he said, no, wait a bit, I'll come back to you. I'm still busy with something. Since I understand that he was on duty, I had to respect that moment only to find that it was our last conversation.
Mm-hmm. How has this affected you? Because we heard from the mother and how it's difficult for her to really accept the reality that she will no longer get to see her son, whom she loved dearly. How is it for the rest of the family?
It's quite a disturbing and very difficult situation because we were expecting to see him February before his birthday, because we were planning to prepare something on the 25th of February since it is his birthday. So we never spent Christmas and New Year celebrations with him. We told ourselves that we were supposed to do something big for him. Unfortunately, we never come to the point of doing those kind of things. It's a very sad and disappointed news about, but what we have to do is hold on and be strong.
Have you been watching the news lately about the situation in DRC? And also, if you have, what do you think government should do?
We are watching news repeatedly after this tragedy happens about South Africans, soldiers or armies. I think South Africa must engage and extend more soldiers with some other weapons based on the experience of their job that they know. So to rescue the kind of situation that is happening now in Goma, DRC.
Mm-hmm. With the number of deaths rising, I mean, now we are looking at 13 people, soldiers that have died in the line of duty in the DRC. So you are still saying South Africa should maybe deploy more soldiers who are more experienced?
Remember, we still have more people that are remaining in DRC. We can't quit, or we can't just say hands off about the people that are in there. Remember, life has to go on after the passing ones. So we really need the ones who are still alive. They must come back home safe. Yes, definitely South Africa must stand up and deploy another soldiers to go and save our brothers and sisters in DRC, definitely.
So before I let you go, what are you going to miss the most about Justice being your cousin that you grew up with and were very close?
The learning from Justice was so very high and impressive. Justice, like I said, it was the man who loves education. The education that he was giving his kids, even though we can try best, but will never be the same as he is, because the plans were in his. The kindness that he has, we can't have the similar or the same one. He was more than kind, and he was planning ahead of things. So, by the way, we will try all our best to take or to further education of his kids. And also as ANDF, I understand there might be some assurances for the kids' future. So, but we'll try our best to make sure that kids survive their educations.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. That was a cousin to the late Justice, essentially taking us through the kind of person that he was growing up, and also really what he will miss about his cousin brother that he was very close to and learnt a lot from, Arabile. It's a very devastating time for these families. The atmosphere is completely different. You can see that people are sad and they are in a moment of confusion in the state, because they don't know when their families or bodies of their family members will be returned. Some have started preparing for funeral arrangements, but it's really confusing because they haven't really been given a time as to when everything will happen so that they can speed up the process. But one thing I've picked up, from speaking to all these families, is that these men were breadwinners. They were family men that provided for their families and really loved their families. So certainly the void of their absence will be felt. In fact, it's already felt at the moment, Arabile. For now, back to you in studio.
Yeah, Zola, thank you so much for that one. In fact, we're going to continue in similar vein because Sipha Kema is also speaking to another family in the Eastern Cape, and she joins us live then as well with regards to this. Sipha, won't you just share, just as we speak to Justice Malissa's family, of course, they give out clear wording of how he was such a person that was revered by many as well, and of course wanting a lot from him in terms of what he did in terms of work. What's the anticipation then, and how's the family feeling as well out of the Eastern Cape here?
Well, I can tell you the family here in East London, the Mbigashe family as well as the Ndai family, are actually in a state of confusion, but also needing answers, Arabile, because Phumzile Ndayi, one of the SANDF soldiers currently in the DRC, had actually communicated with his family. I mean, it started off with them hearing about the conflict and what had occurred on Sunday. And that's when they were actually worried, because no one had actually reached out to this family just to maybe give them information and details as to whether or not their son is safe, or what has happened with that battalion group or that group that he was with. So, but then on Monday, the family did receive communication from Phumzile through his uncle, who we will be speaking to now at the just in a short while. And the communication, he did describe the dire situation that they were in. And what we found is, with those SMSs that I saw, the WhatsApp messages, was that they contradict some of the information that we have been receiving and that we've been briefed on. And that's what Phumzile Ndayi has been saying in those text messages. But let's quickly bring in his uncle, Mr. Vivi Mbikashe, so that he can tell us exactly how the family feels, and details, of course, Arabile, how, the state of confusion the family is in. Now, Mr. Mbikashe, you were telling us now that the family is confused. You don't know what's happening. The last time you spoke to him on Tuesday, he had said that his group was defeated.
Yes, he said that. And in fact, the most important thing to me is that he was injured. He was injured, and that is the last communication I received from him. And from that time, I was at plains as to what actually happened. I looked for each and everybody why I checked the family back at home, Mdlankomo, Libote, that is father. Have they talked to you guys, that is the South African Defence Force? No, they have not. So up to now, so that is, we are devastated, I'm telling you. We don't know what to do. So that's why I had to actually reach to each and everybody to know what is happening. Because what is worrying most is that the boy is in that particular state. We have seen that he is injured on the face. But the extent of his injuries, we don't know. We know that he says he is at hospital. Then, from then, that was yesterday, it was Tuesday, 13:20, no communication up to now. We don't know.
And I do believe you've been writing emails, the family is relying on you for communication in terms of finding out what exactly is going on, and also Phumzile's state currently.
I wrote emails yesterday, and I wrote to Sipha Dlamini, I think this one who is actually feeding us lies on the TV, and I asked him, why is it that they don't communicate with the family? There is no answer. There's no reply to that particular email up to now. And I also wrote to the Speaker of Parliament. No answer up to now. There is just nothing. It's a blanket of silence.
Now, Mr. Mbikashe, when you're talking about lies that are being fed, which part, what are you disputing that's been said, or the information that has been given by the South African National Defence Force?
We are told that here the ammunition, the resources are sufficient. And then from what we're getting is this is not the situation. So that is lies to us. And in fact, there is a lot of confusion, a blanket of confusion here. For instance, this morning, we have been told, somebody was saying that in the hospitals have been attacked. We don't know that. So that is what is worrying. There is no information, Kema, that is coming from the South African National Defence. So that is what is worrying to us. Why is it that these people are doing this to us, to the families? Why is it that they are doing?
And, Mr. Mbikashe, if you look at some of the other families, besides the 13 deceased, families of the 13 deceased, but of families in similar situations such as yours, where you don't know the status of your son, of your nephew, are you in contact with them? Have the families come together and communicated about this issue?
No, not from what I got. not from what I've got from his father. They have not yet they don't know. They are in a state of utter confusion, because if the employer is unable to communicate with them, where else could they go? So that is the situation that we're finding ourselves in. I think even the spaza shops are run better than this. I'm telling you the honest. So we don't know what is going to happen. In fact, they rely on me on that particular side. That's from Dlankomo. And I've been doing everything that I could to get information as to the state of our son. Where is he? Are they getting medication, sufficient medication? And the most worrying question, why is it that these people are not repatriated to South Africa?
I was about to ask you that now. Do you feel with those that have already survived, such as Phumzile, should they be brought back home?
I believe that they are supposed to be brought home, because we are told that there is no way that the resources are getting into Goma. So how are they getting treated? So that is quite worrying to us as the family, you see? Because it seems these people have been cut off. So what is actually happening there?
All right, so thank you so much, Mr. Mpigashe. That's Mr. Vivian Mpigashe, uncle.
Fortunately, our visuals cutting out there in the last minute, indeed, of that. But indeed, just some stern words there coming through from some of the families, of course, of the soldiers who are in the DRC from South Africa then as well. Really just speaking about how thorough communication hasn't been the mandate of the day, and neither has anybody really gotten to understand what is going on and whether a lot of those soldiers should actually be repatriated home as well, and when that might happen.